anytime you can win two in this league. How big was that for you guys?
Yeah, I just think one game at a time, and certainly that was our goal. But nothing's easy in this league, and so grateful for each of the wins and that we're healthy, and so just proud of how we focused and got the job done, even though there are a lot of things that we can do better and a lot of ways that we can grow. I still think it was a really good experience on the road for us.
Have you heard anything from the league office? Have you sent in the video of Bugs getting into it, and have you heard anything?
Okay, so first of all, you may or may not know that I'm chair of the Rules Committee. There is no appeals process. There is no, I think, so at this point, Bugs is suspended for the next game. Just really, really disappointed, quite frankly, with the ruling. Really, really proud of how Bugs handled herself. I think when you look at the lead up to the incident, I feel like the whistle could have blown on the first sucker punch to the stomach, or the elbow to the head, or the elbow to the back that kind of led to the incident. But I, quite frankly, don't know what Bugs could have done better, except turn and run. And but I was just really proud of her poise in that situation. So at this point, they deem it a fight. It's a fight. There's a penalty for a fight. But I'm just really, really proud of my kid. I know who Dariana Littlepage Bugs is, and she fights by getting offensive rebounds, by getting defensive stops, and so it's a high character kid, and I'm just really, really proud of her.
So if she's out, obviously Utah's a little bit different than Arizona State. Who do you want to step up? Who do you need to step up?
Bella needs to step up. Bella's capable of rebounding like Bugs. She's capable of defending multiple positions, which she's done all year. Bella is our best defender, and I think from that perspective, we need her to be. But she's going to need to be an offensive rebounding presence. We're going to have to play big at times. We're going to have to play the lineup that we played, with Madison and Nettie or Madison and Kyla. We're going to have to go big some against them. We're going to have to play small some against them. I thought Aaliyah had incredible minutes, and so hopefully she's turning a corner because we're going to need, her scoring against Utah. So I don't know that it's one person. I certainly think Bella shifts down to the 4, which quite frankly might be her more natural position anyway. But so I think she's more than capable of being elite there. But we're going to need the intangibles. We're going to need the offensive rebounding that we get from Bugs, the pressure on the rim, the pressure in transition, and I think Bella's comfortable in the trail spot, so I don't think that's a bad situation for us. But certainly when you lose your leading scorer and rebounder for a matchup against 4-1 teams, it's you'd prefer not to.
I don't want to dwell on this all day, but I want to go back to that ruling with Bugs. I still don't understand it. I mean, Maya Forsberg is one of the top officials in the country, called the most physical game I've ever watched in the finals of the WNBA championship. I mean, what was her explanation to you? You didn't seem.
First of all, I will agree with you. It wasn't just Mai's elite. That crew was elite. Mike Price is elite. Tiara Cruz is elite. That was probably the best crew we have had top to bottom this season. I haven't seen Michael Price since the bubble. He calls a lot of games on the West Coast, but those are all really good officials that I had in the W, that we've had in college. That was an elite crew. That's why I say I'm disappointed. I think they view it as a cat fight from Bug's perspective when she raised her arms. I certainly think to defend herself. I don't know when someone's punching you, what your natural reaction is to raise your arms to push somebody off of you. You know, I had more of a problem with in some ways what led up to that. That was missed from a crew that is that elite. But certainly, like, I agree with you. That is an elite officiating crew. But it was the hands up, the lean in. You know, I was basically told she leaned in and raised her hands up as if to cat fight. And so that was the explanation. I didn't, at that moment, ask any more questions because the reality is there was nothing I could do about it at that point of interruption, and I needed to coach my team. And it wasn't until after the game when I really dove into the video, the possession before, what they were trying to do to her on the glass, you know, that I recognized there was a big lead up to that. And so, I unfortunately, I mean, truthfully, as chair of the rules committee, I think there's got to be a conversation about should there be, you know, a way to go back and look at those things. But, you know, right now I'm also understand that the rules are the rules. And, you know, I care about my team, I care about my kid, and I care about figuring out how to move forward. And then, you know, like, you know, we had the best scout team player in America on our team yesterday, and we will today as well.
Wow. So just so I don't misspeak, there is no appeal in this
There is no
situation?
appeal.
Okay.
The officials deemed it a fight. A fight carries an ejection and a suspension the next game. Then if you get a second fight, you're suspended for the season. So it's not a small thing.
Wow.
It's not a small thing to when that is the ruling.
Okay. Going back to the Arizona game, I'm sure you were disappointed the way your guards handled the full court pressing defense that put Arizona back in the game. Did that just catch you by surprise, or we just didn't attack properly? I mean, I'm sure that's got to be an area of concern because it.
Yeah, I think two things were an issue there. One, Arizona, 99% of the time they press, it's a man press. We effectively handled their man-to-man press from beginning of the game on. Like, it didn't feel like a press to those watching because we got the ball into Jada and she boogied down the floor and they couldn't go trap her if they wanted to. But most of the time they're just in a 55 full court pick you up, you know, and then if not, they're using their inbounder to trap you quickly. But if you catch it, turn it up the floor, there's no opportunity. So our goal early was to not bring. You'll see a lot of teams bring multiple people into the backcourt. Oftentimes, to me, all that does is give your guards less space to get open and more people to trap you. So if you create that spacing that you can't get run and jumped very easily, you know, I thought they went, you know, when we were rolling there in the third quarter, I thought that they did have a 1-2-2 that they backed up the 3-quarter. Now they're in a zone press. And I do not think we handled that particularly well. Didn't help that Bugs was in foul trouble. Bugs has been really good for us over the last 2 years when we face zone press, i.e. West Virginia, you know, teams that press consistently, of being the outlet. So when you swing through, play to, I think the press caught us off guard for a possession or two because we had told our team, get out of there, give Jada the space to move and shake, and now they're bringing, you know, multiple bodies back into a zone press. So I just don't think we understood as quickly as we should have what they were in and got to our spots, you know, got to the middle, you know, it's no mystery. Like, I believe against an odd player front, you want to be in an even player to attack it. If it's an even front, you want to be in an odd, you know, like there's little nuances of what type of zone press is it. But I don't think we got to our spots. And then so often you can be too passive. And so, like I thought that was a big part of, like a little bit of an indecisiveness in that scenario. Jada threw too long a pass, trying to throw it to Madison. Like, we didn't have people in the right spots. So.
What challenges do Utah present? Obviously, they're different from last year, but they're still playing with plenty of confidence.
Yeah, look at their offensive numbers. They're insane. I mean, they have two players that are 50, 40, 90 kids, and one that's real close. And Wilkie, will McQueen play? I don't know. I'm going to assume she's going to. I know, her ankle injury was a week ago yesterday, but I think you have to prepare until our league comes up with an injury report system, and we have to assume she could play. Neepkins, elite scorer. They dribble into threes. That's what makes them probably a little more unique than a lot of teams. They early up. I think their transition game is elite. But you just look at them, they're top 10 in three-pointers made, three-point efficiency, assists. They're a team that relies on ball movement, player movement. They run, in some ways, some of the same continuity action we run. They've got a really veteran team. I mean, I think, and then they do a good job taking away the three. I mean, they're one of those teams that everybody talks about because their offense is so pretty. They execute, they move it, they share it, they don't turn it over a lot. But they're also a super effective defensive team. So, but what you see the threes, you see the transition buckets, you see the unselfishness. So I think they're a really balanced team, but I think they've gotten, and especially with McQueen out, Torre, their transfer has upped her game. I think playing against Crooks, a week ago when they said, go ahead, you're just going to fire threes because Crooks isn't going to leave the paint, and she made them. I think she's now that's giving her even more confidence to, she was playing well before then, but I think, a different level of confidence when you go score 28 or 30 or whatever she had against Iowa State.
Nicki, particularly this deep into the season in a conference game, how nice was that to go that deep in the rotation and maybe the minutes you got from some of those players?
Yeah, I thought it was really important, especially in a week where we play 3 games, in 7 days between Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday. I thought it was important, especially too with just even traveling, but I also think the type of game that it was and the pace that we wanted to play at. Arizona State's a team that struggles in transition and also coming off an overtime game, wanting to go a little deeper, wanting to keep the pace up, wanting to keep lanes filled. I thought that was to our advantage. So, kind of went into the game wanting to get Aaliyah more early minutes, wanting to get Wise more early minutes. Give Kyla some minutes, I thought, because they typically start double big. They changed their lineup against us and played smaller. But knowing they were going to play double big gave us also opportunity to not feel mismatched by also playing at times double big. So makes us a little bit less dangerous offensively. But I still think was the right move sometimes against what we were defending. Thank you.
rotation? Was it nice to see everybody play like that?
It definitely was. I was, like you said, kind of shocked that we went so deep in the bench, but I also know that's kind of who we are. Like, we always play very deep in our bench, and that's like our strength. I was most excited to see Kayla get in. I really wanted her to score something. I was excited for her.
You played some pretty good defense against that the big from Arizona State. I mean, I guess as Madison works her way back, how was that rotation between you and her kind of playing out, and what's your relationship with her overall?
The rotation itself, I'm not really too worried about whether she gets minutes, whether I get minutes. It's I don't know. It's not that big of a factor to me. As long as we win, whoever goes on the court is the person that's going to get what needs to get done. That's just kind of how I view it. My relationship with her, I think she's a great person. I love Madison. She's such a sweetheart. We call her Mama Bart. I think like a lot of people think that because we're fighting for the same minutes that there's like some type of beef between us or some type of hard feelings, and it's not like that at all.
3 wins in a row for this team, coming off a 2-win, road trip. How much confidence does this team have? And I mean, do y'all feel like the best is yet to come at all?
Definitely feel like the best is yet to come. We're still trying to, for lack of a better term, find out our spots. A lot of people already have. I'm going to say more specifically me. I'm still trying to figure out who I am, even though I know who I'm supposed to be. The 3 wins have definitely given us a lot of confidence, especially coming off of the Oklahoma State loss. I think we're just trying to build ourselves back up. And those, especially the overtime win, that was something we needed. Like, we needed a dogfight. And this team has just proven how much strength and resilience that we have to bounce back from a loss like that to go to an overtime win. It was amazing.
Kylo, with Bugs out this next game, is it kind of a next man up, or everybody needs to pull a little bit more weight? What's the attitude kind of going into this second game?
The biggest thing that we've been talking about is everyone needs to pull more weight rebounding-wise. We know how much of a factor that Bugs is for us rebounding. So the biggest thing that we're hounding on is, like, everyone needs to pull more weight and crash the boards.
Kyle, I'm curious about this. We've talked about your sharing the role, so to speak, with Madison, but in the Arizona game, you didn't play at all, right? Yet you were the first inside sub against Arizona State. Does Coach Green tell you ahead of time that you're going to be called on earlier, or how does that work? Where it just there doesn't look like there's a consistent rotation, and I'm just wondering, how do you know in advance, like before Arizona State, that you were going to go in first after not playing the game before? How does that communicated?
Honestly, I feel like from my perspective, it's based off of practice. So, like, if you practice good, then you should expect to get minutes. There's not really any, like, specific way that people are called off of the bench. I think it's just based off of who the coaches, feel like I said before, will get the job done, or who's going to go in and make an immediate impact. I don't think it's any specific rotation. Like, next game it could be Madison, next game it could be Kayla, or it could be me. I don't think there's any specific way.
I liked your answer. Whoever practices best probably is going to get the first opportunity, so that was good. What do you see as the biggest challenge for the team against Utah? This is the first ranked team you've played all year, so what are you and the team thinking is the biggest challenge?
We have been told that this team is, well, not been told, but we've seen that this team is a 3-point layup and free throw team. They're not going to take any bad shots, any uncontested shots. We're going to have to essentially run them off of the 3-point line. That's a big concern of ours, is defending the 3-point line. that's where this team gets a lot of their points from. They also have a lot of 50, 40, 90 kids. So that's another concern for us, not fouling. That's something we've struggled with in the past, stuff like that.